Hello everyone, this is part 12 of What If Naruto Trained with the Akatsuki, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Ketsu, how many times have we been through this? We all know that you can't take Kyosuke and me on at the same time. Ru stated, attempting to smack Ketsu on top of his head with his staff. It's been a while since we've fought against each other. I've improved since then, Ketsu said, catching the staff. As soon Ketsu's hand made contact with the stick, an electric current surged through directly to Ru's body, causing Ru to immediately let go of his weapon. Ketsu then quickly turned around, using the staff to block a kick by Kyosuke. Kyosuke, Ru began, let's take him down. You know what to do. Kyosuke jumped back, forming hand seals and taking a deep breath. Take Game Unari, Lion's Roar, she shouted, followed by a powerful scream. However, Kyosuke only screamed for half a second before she stopped and fell to the ground unconscious. Kyosuke, Ru shouted as he ran over by her side. What did you do? He asked Ketsu. She's used that move on me before. I made sure to be ready for it if it ever happened again. In the beginning of this battle, I used a jutsu that increased her hearing by tenfold. I activated it just before she used that move. So what you hear, she was hearing her own move 10 times louder. It knocked her out completely. Ketsu said, I plan ahead. You won't beat me this time. You need Kyosuke as a teammate because one-on-one, we both know that I win. Ru stood up silently without saying a single word for a few moments. Then he asked, Ketsu, what is it that you want? I want my revenge, Ketsu said. I can't think of anything else. I had a chance to get it. It doesn't matter if I afterwards. All that matters is that I avenge him. I was closer than ever before and you all ruined it. I'm not going to take this lightly. I want you all to know that you should never get in my way. I can't believe the words that I'm hearing. Your selfishness is overwhelming. I guess it's time that I teach you another lesson. Ru said. Alright, if that's what you want. I'll fight you by myself. But I'm going to take you down no matter what. Kuchio's no jutsu. Ru opened up his right hand as a large black boomerang appeared. The boomerang was so large that Ru's right hand was holding the tip of it. The black weaponry extended from his hand, raised above his head all the way down to the ground. So you will be using that then? Ketsu asked. The large boomerang that stood about as long as 6 foot tall had a large ruby on each side in the middle. Ru took one of the rubies and placed it in his jacket pocket. He then with a little bit of difficulty lifted the boomerang off of the ground and held it horizontally. He let go as the boomerang stayed floating in the air in front of him. As you know, Ketsu, there are 2 rubies. The one I have allows me to control this large boomerang and have it go anywhere I desire it to. Good luck fighting my darkest weapon, Ru said as he put his hands together. With a face of concentration, the boomerang began to move towards Ketsu, spinning slowly. The weapon left behind a trail of dark wind that appeared like sharp smoke. As the boomerang traveled closer to Ketsu, it began to pick up speed, leaving the dark trail bigger until finally the boomerang was spinning high in the air at a very fast speed. Soon enough, a black tornado was created that formed itself around the boomerang. No tree or boulder could stand in the tornado's way. It would simply devour everything in its path like a black hole. You better move, Ketsu, Ru shouted, trying to get his opponent to hear him over the roaring sound of the wind. You know that this move is a tornado that disassembles particles and simply absorbs the energy from those particles to use as fuel to keep on going. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Ketsu shouted as 5 different clones appeared. They all opened up their right hand and shouted, Ranpu, Rasengan. Instead of the regular blue chakra color, it was bright yellow, illuminating about as much as the sun. It was so bright, all eyes turned away from the 5 spheres. After a few seconds, all 5 Ketsus clashed each sphere together to create a large bright Rasengan in the real Ketsu's hand. By this time, the tornado had arrived, devouring 2 Bunshins in less than a second. It seemed as if they turned into powder that got sucked up with the wind. Ketsu only waited until the tornado was within arm's reach, about to engulf him. He drove the Rasengan straight into the tornado and the darkness simply disappeared, leaving the boomerang itself to fall to the ground shattered in pieces. Ranpu Rasengan, so you finally learned it. Ru said, smiling slightly in a proud way. It took me a while, but yes I did. Ketsu said as the sphere disappeared from his hand. Let's continue, shall we? There's no need, Kyosaku's voice said from a nearby location. Suddenly, 15 sharp spears all shot up towards each other from the ground and stopped at a common point above Ketsu. He was now in a jail that was shaped exactly like a teepee, trapped. Kyosaku stood up from the ground saying, Ketsu, you should know that I recover fast. Must have slipped my mind. Ketsu said, there is no reason why we should be fighting. Kyosaku began, we're teammates. If anger can separate us, then I don't want a part of the Tenushihai. She said harshly, we are supposed to stick together no matter what, through thick and thin. What are we doing right now? We are fighting each other because one has anger problems and supposedly we want to calm him down. No, that's not how it goes, guys. Decide right now, Tenushihai, or your battle. Are you going to put anger before your friendship, or are you going to let it slide? Don't worry, Ketsu, we will help you get your revenge. We don't want you to do it alone. We are all here with you. Both Ru and Ketsu bowed their heads in shame for fighting with each other for such a trivial thing. They apologized to each other as Kyosaku's spears disappeared. Kiran sighed in disappointment. So Kagai was then. Yes, my lord. Lucky for Saru that I was around, because if not, that boy would have caught up to him and he would be gone as well. 8 said. Q will not be happy to learn this. After he finds out that I have failed in judgment, then I will definitely be punished. Apparently, the Kyubi boy is much more than he seems, Kiran stated. Where is Q? Saru asked, barely managing to muster up enough courage to speak to Kiran. He is currently in a state of meditation that allows him to. 8 began. He's sleeping. Kiran interrupted, obviously hiding the truth. He'll be out soon. So it appears that we are down to only 4 Shouten members. What was his name you said? Naruto asked his younger brother. I am not sure. Anbu names are not revealed because if enemies ever found out about them, then they could be easily defeated. It's easier to win by attacking the ones nearer to your enemy. Ketsu said. All I know from what Jiraiya once told me is that he has the ability of the first Hokage. And what ability is that? Kyosaku asked. It is the ability to have somewhat control over Jinchuriki powers. Ketsu said. So what you're saying is that I should go train with him? Naruto asked. How is this going to help me? What I think he's trying to say is, Ru began. Since we were just talking about you getting stronger, if you go to this guy, then he can probably help you get control over your demon powers. Yeah, Ketsu said. I agree with Ketsu. After all, you did say that we should go after the Shouten, didn't you, Naruto? Kyosaku said. Yes, I did. I said we would help Ketsu get his revenge, and we need to be stronger for that. But no man in his right mind would help an outsider who is a former Akatsuki member. Exactly, Ketsu said. Keyword, former. Plus, all the 3 of us are allies of Konoha village. We will vouch for you, and even if they know you are an Akatsuki member, you can say that you got out. If we explain our situation, I'm positive that he will help us. Ketsu said. Naruto sighed. Very well, let's head to Konoha. All Akatsuki members gathered inside the base to form a circle. Together they were 10 in total. So it appears that we are all back to a reasonable number. I trust everyone's judgment here, so why doesn't everyone introduce who they brought into this organization? Itachi began. Let's start with Miniopaxu and Deidara. Miniopaxu stepped forward and pointed to who they recruited. This is Toby. In all honesty, Deidara and I do not know a thing about him except for his name. However, I know Zetsu talked of him many times before, so I trust his judgment. Toby, why don't you say something about yourself? Toby then stepped forward as his introducer stepped back into the circle and said, well, I have trained my whole life to become as I am now. I did not become serious about fighting until I had a childhood encounter with my trusty enemy Death, who I have managed to avoid so far. I really do not like to reveal anything to anybody unless they happen to see it if I fight. That's about it. Very well put, Toby. Deidara commented. I guess we'll go next. Kakazu said as him and Ryoku stepped forward. This here is Ryoku. He is an old friend, rival who has fortunately joined with us. He is very talented in all types of fighting and he controls the power of diamond with his left hand and ice with his right. He is able to use them extremely well and I doubt anybody here can beat him without any help. Kisame then murmured something quietly to Itachi. Itachi said as Hiden stepped up. The point is, he swore his allegiance to the Akatsuki and I know that he is a man of his word. Don't doubt him by his strength, embrace the fact that he is a great help to our cause. Hiden stated. Very well, Kisame said. Everyone, Itachi and I have brought you a man who you well may know. He is thought to be S by most and we know will be a great help to us. He is an outlaw of the Konoha village and the father to the 1,000-copy ninja Hatake Kakashi. I introduce you to Hatake Tsukumo, the White Fang. Interesting, Minio-Paksu said scratching his chin. For everybody who is new, welcome. Itachi said. Now Hinata, I apologize that you could not go, however I will open this opportunity to ask you, is there anything else you would like to add? Hinata stepped up slowly. I've been asking myself for a long time now, and I still can't understand. What are we fighting for? I thought that was obvious, we are fighting for world domination. Hiden said. But what if some of us don't want that? Hinata asked a little louder. Well then what are you doing here? Hiden asked. I didn't choose to be here. You all sealed me up in a coffin and kept me as a weapon. Where's my choice, huh? Hinata asked even louder with a frown on her face. I will teach you to be so insolent. Kakazu said taking 5 steps towards Hinata. Guys, Itachi started. You don't want to mess with me, Hinata said with a very threatening tone. Guys, Itachi said once more. That's it, you're S. Kakazu shouted picking up his pace. Guys, Itachi shouted. Hinata said nothing but simply disappeared and reappeared behind Kakazu with her sword out. Guys stop, Itachi screamed. Boom. All of a sudden, Kakazu found his lower body frozen with ice unable to move. Hinata was also immobilized as well, but with diamond. Ryoku had stepped forth and had both of his arms stretched out to both of them. Everything was silent for a moment. Hinata was panting and Kakazu was completely still. Suddenly, Kakazu's right arm simply detached itself from his body. You little whore, Kakazu shouted. You see off my arm. Kakazu, it's not like it makes a difference. Hiden shouted. Kakazu's tendrils that filled his body simply reattached his arm to himself. That is beside the point. Wow, if I may say so, that was very good. Toby said. Who might you be? Tsukumo asked to Hinata. My name is Hyuga Hinata, and I am here because I never had a choice to be anything else. I was raised here, and this is all that I have. But my perception of the Akatsuki has been changed drastically. I used to believe that we were a family, even though there was tension between some at many times. But it appears that the ultimate goal has to be reached no matter what. That attaining world domination is more important than any single person here. If one S, doesn't matter because we have to go on. One by one, what I called family members S, but it was as if nobody cared except me. I didn't cry in front of anyone because I didn't want anybody to see me as weak. But now that I see that we are recruiting more members, I tell you that I cannot see us as a family. How can I love people that I do not know? Does anybody even care for anybody at all? Am I simply a weapon to everybody here like Naruto was? Hinata asked with tears slowly dripping down her cheeks. Kakazu, calm down first of all. Itachi said. Hinata, Minio-Paksu began to explain, you are not just a tool to us. You have become a part of each of us. However, some are less tolerant than others. Do not forget that you own a special place within all of us. As for the new members, we cannot complete our goal if we are a broken organization. I have no other way to explain them to you except that, all those who have S, they have S fighting for the cause that we are fighting for now. If we give up on this goal, then they S in vain, and we can't let that happen. That's why we need more people to fulfill the dreams of those who are dreaming now. When all this is over, you can have your pick of what you want to do. As for now, we need you, but remember that we still care about you no matter what. Minio-Paksu said. I am sorry for doubting. Hinata bowed in apology as both she and Kakazu were released from their binding states. I am sorry for losing my temper, Hinata. Kakazu said. So now that we are replenished, what are the plans, Itachi? Deidara asked. Itachi's eyes glowed as he said, well, for now, we have to focus on attaining the Nine-Tails Demon Fox. We need to locate Uzumaki Naruto. So I'll wait outside here to not cause commotion. Naruto said as all four of them stood outside of Konoha gates. Exactly, give us a few minutes and we'll be right out. Ketsu said as him, Ru, and Kyozaku rushed into the village. Ketsu, a voice immediately said when they entered. Ketsu turned his head and smiled. Sakura-chan, how are you? Wow, this is a really big surprise. Where have you been all these years? Sakura asked. Training. I've been through a lot while I've been gone. How long has it been? Ketsu asked. Too long. A voice shouted from above. Ten, Ketsu said. Ten jumped down from the roof and asked, what brings you here to Konoha? Actually, I'm looking for the Hokage. I don't know who that is though. Ketsu said. Oh, about that, Sakura said. We haven't had a Hokage ever since Habury's. Nobody in this village can fit the position well enough. Kakashi has been asked many times but he declines every single time. Ten explained. Well then, where is Kakashi? Ketsu asked. He's in the ramen shop eating with Yamato and Kimetsu. Sakura said, accidentally revealing two Anbu names. She immediately covered her mouth after realizing her mistake. You didn't hear that. Maybe they are one of the ones we need. Ru said as all three of them rushed to the ramen shop. There they were, three men, Kakashi, another with light brown spiky hair, and the third with spiky hair as well but black. Kakashi, it's me Ketsu. Ketsu said from outside the small shop. Kakashi stood up along with the three guys and stepped outside to greet the voice that called his name. Ketsu. Wow, has it been a while huh? He said shaking his hand. Boy, you've gotten a lot taller. I recognize you two from somewhere, Kakashi said turning to face Kyozaku and Ru. We were both here about a year ago right before Habury's. Ru said without any expression on his face. So who is Yamato and who is Kimetsu? Kyozaku asked smiling. Both Yamato and Kimetsu both jumped up in shock and surprise. I guess that means Sakura's tongue must have slipped. Well, since you already know, I guess there's no harm in already telling you. The one with brown hair is Kimetsu and Yamato is the one with black hair. Kakashi said, scratching the back of his head and smiling. Listen Kakashi, Ketsu said leaning in closer. I need to request a very large favor from someone. Apparently there is an Anbu member who has the genes of the first Hokage. That would be me. Yamato stepped forward. If you're going to ask a favor of me, then why don't you stop talking to Kakashi? He said forcefully. Hey, calm down a little Yamato. Kimetsu said. Well, if it is you then, I don't know how to say this but, something big is coming and it's coming fast. Have you ever heard of the Shouten? Ketsu asked. Doesn't seem to ring a bell. Yamato said. Well, they are a small organization who have a better chance of succeeding than the Akatsuki do. The Shouten is composed of S-rank criminals stronger than all of the Akatsuki. We know from experience. Ketsu said. What do you want from me? Yamato asked. I need you to help us. Or more like help one of us. Ketsu said. Help? Yes, train one of us. Ketsu said. Which one of you needs training? Yamato inquired. Ketsu was silent for a moment then scratched his arm and said, well, you see, about that, my brother is going to need your help. Your brother? Kimetsu asked. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him, are you ready? His name is Uzumaki, Naruto. Ketsu said softly. What? Yamato asked in disbelief. You want me to train an Akatsuki member who is probably already twice as strong as I am? Well, he has the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki inside of him and if you know how to control that then maybe you can help him be in control. Ketsu said. I would never sink so low in my life. To help a criminal that lives for power and death is worse than death itself. Yamato shouted. Ketsu gritted his teeth and clenched his fists as he heard those harsh words. I was not born with this ability, it was given to me through an experiment, but even though what I have is an accident, I will use it for the greater good. I will not aid the Akatsuki in anything I do. I would rather To help Uzumaki Naruto is to help the enemy, it is to ensure the end of Konoha. I refuse. Yamato continued to shout, getting Ketsu even angrier. Finally, Ketsu. He took 2 steps and grabbed Yamato by the collar and yelled right in his face, okay, first off, Naruto is not an Akatsuki member anymore. He ran away a year ago and has been with us ever since. He is a great person and he has turned his life around. I will not stand here as you insult my only B relative based on the lies and rumors that you have heard. Naruto is not a bad person. Apparently you do not understand enough. We would not have come if we didn't need your help. But the fact is that your pride is the last thing you should be worried about, because soon enough, the Shouten will have everything they need before they take over not only Konoha village but even the Akatsuki itself. You must realize that we ourselves all put our pride aside to enter through these gates and ask you for help. Because we have fortunately realized the importance of this matter and now we are here, ready to fight for the world's future. You should do the same. With that, Ketsu let go of Yamato and backed away. Yamato was silent for a moment, and then said, "How bad is it? We recently had an encounter with a Shouten member. They need Naruto's demon powers for some reason, and we know that we can't stand against them at the strength we are now. We need to get stronger. Mainly Naruto, because he needs to fight him off. Please listen, we are not asking you to come and risk your life for us, we are asking that you allow us to risk ours." Ketsu said. "Where is he?" Yamato asked. "He's waiting outside of the village. We need you to train him now." Ru said. "Meet me at the end of the forest in 5 minutes. I will be there soon." Yamato said as they all parted. "Kakashi and I will both go with you in case anything occurs," Kimetsu said, running alongside Yamato. "Haku and Kagai are S. How could you send him out on a mission like that? Did you not know that Kagai is not exactly that strong?" Q asked after hearing the news. "Yes, my lord, but under the circumstances," Kiran tried to explain. "What circumstances? Stop," Saru shouted. "It's my fault. It's my fault, okay? Look, I ran when I should have fought alongside of Kagai. I left him to fight Naruto and Ketsu at the same time. It is not Kiran's fault that he sent Kagai and I, because Kagai gave his life for the Shouten, but I was too afraid to do the same. I was afraid that we were going to lose Sarai." Saru was knocked to the wall by Q, who backhanded him. "Silence. You are disobedient just like your brother. Do not speak if you have not been asked to speak. Who do you think you are? You are nothing, you hear me? Nothing," Q screamed. Saru cried horribly in fear. He curled up in the corner and simply allowed the tears to fall from his face. He regretted not listening to Haku. He didn't want anything anymore except to be back in Konoha safe with Haburi. But Haburi, Konoha would never forgive him. Haku is S, and now he had no choice but to pledge his life for a lost cause. Sora was never coming back. Saru cried louder at these thoughts. "Shut up. Shut the hell up, you little insect." Q screamed even louder. Saru shut up immediately, but tears still rushed to the ground. "I don't want to be here anymore," Saru shouted, curling himself up even more. "What did you say?" Q asked threateningly. "I said I don't want to be here anymore," Saru shouted once more. "I hate this place." Q simply laughed for a few moments. "It doesn't matter what you want. Your life belongs to me, your soul belongs to me. There is no way in hell that I'm going to give that up. You can forget about leaving. You will stay with me until US. Cry all you want now, but you can never leave. I own you." Soon enough, Yamato, Kakashi, and Kimetsu met up with the 4 teenagers at the end of the forest as planned. Yamato carried 5 black shackles in his hands. He walked directly up to Naruto and handed them to him. "Here, put these on." "What are they?" Naruto asked. "They are called chakra binders. One of them is strong enough to prevent a regular shinobi from using them. I'm giving you 5, Yamato explained. "How is this going to help me?" Naruto asked. "Look, I came here to help you. Don't question my training methods, okay, kid?" Yamato said. "We need to work on bringing out your demon chakra first. So as soon as you put those on, we can begin." Naruto wore them where he was told to and said, "Let's start." "Great. Now let's see if those chakra binders are strong enough to prevent you from using any ninjutsu." "Test it out," Yamato said. Naruto felt powerless. He could not expel a single drop of chakra. "I can't do anything," he sighed. "I'm glad that it works. So 5 is enough. Alright, your opponent in this training session will be Kimetsu. I want you to take him down by using your demon chakra," Yamato said. "Are you sure that's safe?" Naruto asked. "The whole point of this exercise is to be able to release your Kyubi chakra in the first place. So just do what I say. Yamato explained. Alright, here goes nothing, Naruto said, concentrating very hard to bring out the demon within him. Kimetsu stepped up, saying, "Don't think I'm going to give you an easy time here. I'm not expecting anything," Naruto said in full concentration. Kimetsu rushed at Naruto with a fist flying towards his opponent. Naruto moved his head to the side and dodged the punch with great speed. Kimetsu pulled back his fist and backed away. Naruto stood up tall and noticed that there was blood running down his cheek. He looked back at his opponent and saw that Kimetsu had a kunai in his hand. "So when you pulled back your punch you whipped out a kunai, huh?" Naruto asked. "You were good at stating the obvious," Kimetsu said, rushing at him again. Kimetsu jumped up into the air, swinging his right leg at Naruto's head. Naruto blocked with his left forearm and quickly threw a punch to Kimetsu's C. Bam! Kimetsu immediately caught the punch and a shock surged through Naruto's entire right arm, causing it to go numb. Naruto was caught off guard with this technique and Kimetsu didn't waste any time. He simply held onto Naruto's fist and with his right hand stuck Naruto's face with enough power that it sent him back a few feet to the floor. Naruto stood up with his right arm hanging in complete numbness. "I've got to do this," he thought to himself. "Kimetsu, it's not working," Yamato said. "You are going to have to speed the process up if we want to make any progress at all. Result or a death strategy. That is the only way he'll access the chakra within him. The Kyuubi won't let Naruto s. Well, I guess on Yamato's orders, I'm going to have to KO you," Kimetsu said, smiling. Kimetsu wore a bracelet on his right wrist that had a tiny spike sticking out at his palm area. He swung his arm straight at Naruto and the spike simply launched out, connected to a string tied to the wristband and encircled Naruto many times. Naruto was bound from end to toe in a metal-thin string. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," Kimetsu shouted as 4 other Bunshins appeared doing the exact same thing Kimetsu just did. Naruto was now tied up in strings connected to 5 different Kimetsus. "I'm sorry Naruto, but this is really going to hurt. The faster you get your demon powers out, the less longer you're going to have to endure this. Shougeki no Jutsu." All Kimetsus shouted as a great electrical surge traveled to Naruto through the metal strings. Naruto screamed in pain as he felt his whole body being shocked. He could hear the voices of his brother Ketsu shouting his name. Suddenly, everything went black, and everything went silent. Naruto had a huge headache and he could see nor hear anything. As soon as he came to focus, he could hear the dripping of water as if he were in some kind of drainage area. He opened his eyes slowly to find himself in a yellow dimmed place. "Where am I?" Naruto asked out loud. All that answered him was his echo bouncing down the hallways past him. He stood up and looked around. There was only one way to go, forward. Naruto kept running for a few minutes until he entered a very large room that had a cage in it. The cage was 20 times bigger than Naruto and then he realized where he was. He looked straight past the steel bars and into the eyes of the beast that had ruined his very existence. He stared straight at the glowing red eyes coming from the demon fox within the cage. He was facing his worst nightmare, the demon inside him who had destroyed his childhood, the Kyuubi. Naruto's knees trembled at the very sight. The Kyuubi simply smiled at having sensed his tangible fear. "Do you realize that you are nothing without me?" the fox asked him. Naruto stood still, he stood silent, and let his inner demon speak once more. "You need my help to survive, you need my help right now. Release me from this cage, and I will grant you the power that you need to get what you want." Naruto. Yamato's voice echoed through the room and into Naruto's head. "Do not allow the Kyuubi to control you. Remember, you are the one in control. He is trapped in you, release him, and gain control. If not then you will be lost forever," Yamato said. "Release me from this prison, boy. You need me," Kyuubi shouted, bashing his paw against the cage. The ground shook from the force as the long sharp nails slipped through the cracks of the bars, almost touching Naruto. "No," Naruto said. "What?" the Kyuubi asked in frustration. "You don't command me. I am your master," Naruto said, standing tall as his legs ceased to shake. "Release me. That is the only way to get my powers," the Kyuubi screamed. "I said no," Naruto shouted. He raised his right hand towards the demon fox with his fingers spread wide. "Give me your power." Boom. Red chakra from inside the cage rushed to Naruto's body and overwhelmed him. Naruto opened his eyes and suddenly felt his bi rush, his strength increase, and his desire to conquer fill him to the very depths of his soul. The metal strings were nothing against his new strength. He could not feel a single volt coming to his body. He ripped the strings by extending his arms in rage. Control it, Naruto! Yamato shouted. Naruto's rage had gotten the best of him, he saw Kimetsu, and he charged. Suddenly, his energy was gone, and he fell to the floor exhausted, the power drained from him completely. He looked up as Yamato walked towards him. You did a good job, now we just need to rehearse that for a few more hours and you'll get the hang of it. 6 hours later, Naruto had improved by a mile, unwilling to quit despite his exhaustion. He was now able to access his Kyuubi powers at will with ease. Now remember, accessing your Kyuubi powers puts a lot of strain on your body, so do not use it often. Yamato said. Thank you very much, Yamato-san. If we can just be going now, Naruto said. What? Yamato asked. That's not all. You have just finished with the easy part. If you can get the next part down by nightfall 3 days from now, I'll be impressed. When I'm done with you, you'll be able to do what no Jinchuriki has ever done before with his demon powers. And what is that? Naruto asked. Take off the chakra binders, and let's begin the second part. Yamato said. Naruto did as he was told and got ready for his next session of training. Now, I want you to access your demon powers, then your regular chakra powers, and allow them both to be released at the same time. Yamato said. What? That's impossible. Naruto shouted. Just release your demon chakra. Naruto did as he was told as an aura of red glowing chakra surrounded his body. Now release your regular chakra at the same time. Yamato said. Naruto squinted his eyes in focus, but his red chakra disappeared as soon as his blue chakra appeared. Try it again. Yamato said. Finally, nightfall had come and Naruto was able to release both of them at the same time. Wow, you are doing very good. Yamato said, complimenting him. Now for the final addition, I want you to mix both chakras together. How? Naruto asked. Let me explain it to you so that you can see it is remotely possible. You have chakra veins located all over your body in which normal chakra flows. Your demon inside of you releases the red chakra through an unused chakra passage that also flows through your body. Both veins of the demon chakra and regular chakra run parallel to each other so that they never intersect. That is the reason that you are able to bring them both out at the same time. The only way to mix them is if they encounter each other at every location. You are going to need to release incredible amounts of each chakra in order for the chakra to overflow into each tubule, allowing interaction between the two. That in turn will grant you an unlimited amount of chakra for a certain amount of time. With so much chakra, a ninjutsu of any kind of power is possible. The task itself is so difficult that it has never been done in the history of man. Hopefully you will be able to do it within the next 2 days. Yamato said, smiling. However, keep in mind that doing this will destroy your body by the second rather than heal it. After 30 seconds, your heart will overexert itself and stop beating, and your flesh will have deteriorated down to the very bone. Just a few seconds into this power could leave you with a coma for weeks. But the power granted to you is unimaginable. Good, then let's do it. Naruto said. Saru couldn't deal with this anymore. It was do or else, either way he had to try to leave. He dashed past Q as quickly as he could. He ran out of the Shouten base and through the forest, not even stopping to catch a single breath. Would you like me to fetch him, my lord? Kiran asked. Actually, I am going to go myself. Apparently, he's brave enough to try to run from us. He is still of use to me, so I will not dispose of him yet. I have to gain his trust. I will catch up with him in a few hours. There is no need to run now. Let him tire out, Q said, sitting down and closing his eyes. It is time to assign pairs to everyone. Tsukumo and Tobi, you all will be pairing together. Ryoku, you will join teams with Kakazu and Hidden. Everybody else will remain the same. Itachi said. Can I request to be a pair with the girl? Ryoku asked. Itachi does everything for a reason. Do not doubt his leadership, because it is under that same leadership that will get us to our goal. Kisame interrupted. You should control your tongue. I expect an answer from the one I ask. Ryoku said. Stop everyone. Itachi said. Kisum is right, don't argue with my ability to command. I do everything for a reason. Master Itachi, I am terribly sorry to interrupt. However, I thought you should know that I had a Bunshin follow Sasori closely and witness his death. Not only that, but my Bunshin also followed our current target all the way back to the Konoha forest. I just thought you should know their whereabouts. Minio-Paksu said. Very well Minio-Paksu, I truly appreciate you help. Since they are currently in the forest, the Kyubi is only an arm's reach away. Tsukumo, Toby, Kisum, and I will head for Konoha. Hiden, and Kakazu, I want you to capture the only remaining bijou we need besides the nine-tailed fox. The Kazekage of the Sand Village has Shukaku within him. Bring him back. Itachi commanded. Hey, Deidara began. What about the rest of us huh? What are Ryoku, Minio-Paksu, Hinata and I going to do? Why don't you go and have fun blowing things up? Kakazu asked as him and his teammates left the Akatsuki base. Hinata sat down on the ground and sighed. She had to escape. Naruto was on the floor completely unconscious from all the practice. Yamato, Kakashi, and Kimetsu were all sitting down taking a break. Ru, Ketsu, and Kyosaku were off in another area of the forest training hard. It really amazes me. He accomplished it. He mixed the chakra. However, the effect was more intense than I thought. He held his powerful state for 4 seconds and half of his skin had deteriorated already. Whoever he's planning to fight in that state, is going to have to be defeated within a max time of 30 seconds. If Naruto cannot K his opponent within that time, he'll S. Yamato said. I felt the power too, I'm pretty sure we all did. I felt like I was being burned alive to tell you the truth. I wonder how he feels. Kimetsu said. One thing is for sure, that boy, is more powerful than his father. Kakashi said softly. What are you talking about? Kimetsu asked. How do you know anything about him? Forget I said anything. Kakashi said lying down on the soft green grass as he closed his eyes. I don't know what I'm talking about anyway. Hey look, Sleepyhead is waking up. Kimetsu said pointing at Naruto who had opened his eyes slowly. What happened? Naruto asked with a tired voice. Wait a minute, I did it didn't I? Yamato nodded with a smile. Yeah kid, you did do it, which surprises me a lot. Hey, I don't have the time to learn, the world will end soon if I'm not there to stop it. I fear that the only other person that is strong enough to make a big difference will refuse to help. If that happens, we're all doomed. It's not the Queni that matters, it's the strength of the individuals that fight. Even most Anbu would simply just be a burden in this fight because they are not capable. Naruto said looking directly up into the sky. We have to get started once more. Hey, why is this happening? Deidara asked. Why are we stuck here? Hinata could not help it. She took out her sword and shouted, Bushi no Jutsu. Boom. An orange glow emitted from her sword attacking Deidara, Minio-Paksu, and Ryoku. Boom. Half the wall of the base was knocked down into rubble. Dirt was all in the air from the crash so nothing was visible. When everything was clear, Hinata was gone and Deidara was on the floor. Minio-Paksu had his hands forward holding a clear shiny barrier that looked like a bubble. It was completely cracked everywhere about to break. Ryoku was standing tall and unharmed with ice and diamond shards all around him on the floor. Deidara, are you alright? Minio-Paksu asked, releasing the barrier. Deidara stood up, brushing the dirt off his cloak. I'm fine. I jumped back as I put one of my toys in my place. That's probably what made the explosion a little more effective. It looks like both of you are perfectly fine as well. I thought we had reassured her. Apparently not. Ryoku said smiling. That doesn't matter. We cannot allow her to escape. We must pursue her and bring her back. Minio-Paksu said as all 3 Akatsuki members dashed off to catch Hinata. Tsukumo, this is your chance to see your son. I brought you both with us so I can see what you are capable of. Please don't disappoint us, Itachi said. Tsukumo stayed silent as Toby said, you won't have to worry about that. I'll try my best. Who are we capturing again? A boy named Uzumaki Naruto. Kisum answered. To give you a little information on him, we captured him when he was a baby. We saved him from a circus house in Konoha. Apparently some shinobi were hosting an illegal, freak show, during the night hours. Some Anbu members were also in on it, which is why it remained a secret from the Hokage. They got a hold of Naruto, who had the nine-tailed Jinchuriki inside of him. They tease him ever since he was a baby. He knew of no happiness. We actually did Konoha a favor of taking care of the criminals, and taking him under our wing. He grew up with us and we each individually trained him. Now, he has surpassed each and every one of us. Trust me, it is going to take at least two using 100% of their strength to take him down. He is also probably not alone. He is most likely accompanied by his brother Uzumaki Ketsu, who is quite skilled as well. Kisame explained. Well then, where did that girl Hinata come from? Sakumo asked. She was also rescued from the same place Naruto was. Her background is even more unique. Kisame began. There was once a Jinchuriki sealed inside of her, but when we extracted it, she did not s. Instead, she remained with the power and potential as she had before. We decided to raise her as well. With every fight, she becomes stronger and stronger. Her power has no limit and it cannot be measured for the fact that she is constantly becoming more powerful with every technique she uses. Every fight boosts her skill by a large amount. If you raised both of them, then why is Hinata so insolent, and why is Naruto somewhere else? Toby asked. Because they both have realized that they were deprived of a life that they want to live. Naruto realized that much earlier and we have been his enemies ever since. Hinata is barely starting to notice this fact. But we cannot let her escape as well, because she is a great help to our cause. Itachi said. The point is, for Naruto, we all realized that one day, it would come to where we would have to extract his demon. But some of us refused, Itachi and me included. It was that day that the Akatsuki split into two groups. We were turned against each other for a boy who turned against us anyway. But we had to join back together when we encountered the Shouten. Luckily most of us made it out alive of that battle. The Akatsuki has been together ever since. Kisame said. Most. Toby asked. Yes, our leader Akuma fought his older brother from the Shouten single-handedly and lost. One of our other members Zetsu S as well. Itachi has taken Akuma's place as our leader. Kisame explained. For now, the plan is simple. Kisame and I will take care of Naruto because we know him better. You two will take care of anybody else around. Believe me, Naruto is strong enough to take us both on. We can only hope that we are able to accomplish this mission. Itachi said. Hinata could not outrun him, but she could not fight them both either. It really didn't look good for her at this point, but she had no choice. She was better off fighting him than letting him attack her back attempting to run away. She stopped and turned back to face them since they had immediately caught up. Hinata, this is pointless. Come back to the base, where we can settle your doubts. You already know that if you attack, you cannot win. Minio-Paksu said. I can't go back Minio-Paksu-sama, I'm sorry. But at this point, I'm beginning to understand Naruto's feelings. All this time I thought it didn't matter that you all were using me, but I was wrong. We are working for a cause that I never agreed to. I never had a choice in this, and I don't want the same thing that everybody else wants. I now envy Naruto, not hate him. I consider him lucky because he was able to escape. I look back and I can't understand how I could have been so stupid. You made him kill his own mother, his last and only relative besides his brother, and I helped him even though I knew what I was doing. I was wrong all along, it's not about serving. I thought I would get my choice one day, but that's not true, I'll never be free from your world of power. Not unless I do something about it. So this is me, here, saying and swearing, because I swear to you, that I would rather than go back. So you can all try to take me back, and you might even succeed, but I will not live to help you any longer. My loyalty to this organization is over. Consider it a loss, but I couldn't care less, because I know that I deserve my freedom. And if you don't give it to me, then I will have to take it. Life or death, either way, I must spend it without the Akatsuki. Hinata shouted. Well Hinata, I am truly sorry that you feel that way. I really am. But just like you feel as if you have no choice, neither do we. We must bring you back no matter how much you disagree. I understand your pain, but we cannot let you go. You know too much, you are too strong to simply let you pass through our fingers. Minio-Paksu said. We are so close to attaining our goal, and we need you by our side to do that. Please, I'm only going to ask you once. I'm asking you now, not as an Akatsuki member, but as a friend and member, stand down and come back with us. Please do this, Hinata. We don't want to hurt you. Minio-Paksu, what do you think we live for? Do we have a destiny? If so, how can you tell what that is? Do we live for our desires, or our needs? I ask myself these kind of questions every day, but I cannot figure it out. But one thing is for sure, I am tired of living for evil. Because I know in my heart, that the path that I walk, is not the right one. So I am changing paths. Please do not ask me to stand down, because I cannot, just like you cannot go back to the base. We are at a conflict that cannot be settled with words, but only with our skill in battle. So please, do not offend me by taking my word lightly, but allow me to fight for what I believe is right. Hinata unsheathed her sword and held it with both hands as she crouched ready to fight. Minio-Paksu smiled. Very well, Hinata. I can honestly say that I am proud of the person that you have become. We may be enemies in this battle, but I believe you have a right to fight just as much as anybody. So don't make a mistake, or your freedom may never be granted to you. Instead, unlock the potential that I know is inside of you, and defeat all three of us right here in front of you. Don't be afraid of death, and do not be afraid to K. Good luck. Hey Minio-Paksu, whose side are you on? Deidara asked. Let's get started already, huh? Saru had been running for almost 2 hours, but he was not the least bit tired yet. He could run for much longer before he needed to rest or even slow down. But that was not what worried him. He could feel a powerful presence ahead. He could not tell who it was, but he could sense chakra coming from the direction he was heading. He was ready for anything. The chakra level was very close now, he would soon reach it. Soon enough, it became clear. He dashed from tree to tree until he landed on the same branch as a blue-haired woman in an Akatsuki cloak. He vaguely remembered her face from when he and his former partner from the Shouten Haku invaded the Akatsuki base. There she was, in her cloak, facing 3 other Akatsuki members, one whom which he did not recognize. Well, if it isn't the little boy that took Naruto from us. Deidara said, smiling. It looks like you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. We are not going to let you escape. You have caused us lots of grief. I don't want any trouble. I'm trying to escape the Shouten. Saru said, raising both of his hands signaling peace. It doesn't matter, kid, you're going down. Deidara said. Saru looked at all 4 Akatsuki members. Hinata then said, you're escaping the Shouten. Yes, Saru said. Well, I'm escaping the Akatsuki help me fight, and we might have a chance of surviving this. Hinata said. Very well, Saru said as he turned to face his 3 new opponents. Yamato, Kakashi said, immediately awakening from his sleep and standing up. Don't worry, we can all feel it. Kimetsu said as everybody's head turned toward the enemies closing in on them. Who do you think it is? Yamato asked. I can recognize that force from anywhere, Naruto said. It's the Akatsuki. How many? Kakashi asked, raising his Konoha headband that was covering his left eye to reveal a Sharingan. There are 4 of them. It is Itachi and Kisame as well as 2 other members that I do not recognize. Naruto said. Just be ready for a big fight. They are here for me. Zoom. Suddenly, all 4 Akatsuki members appeared in front of Naruto, Kimetsu, Kakashi, and Yamato. Kakashi's eyes widened and his ankles buckled under him as he fell to his knees in awe. Kakashi, what's wrong? Yamato asked. Father, Kakashi whispered. So we meet again, Naruto. As you know, it is time to collect. The Shouten is moving, and so must we. The only way to win him over is if we have all Jinchuriki. I'm sorry to say, but you are one of them. Itachi said. Itachi, you already know that I am not going to hand myself over to you. So let's just get started, shall we? Naruto said. Let's take them down. Deidara shouted, crouching about to jump forward. No thanks. Ryoku responded. What? Minio-Paksu said, outraged. What do you mean no thanks? I'm not going to fight 2 children. I believe that she is fighting for a very reasonable cause, and I think that 2 Akatsuki members are already enough. Plus, I would like to see the skill of all 4 of you. I need to know what I'm dealing with. Ryoku said. Itachi-sama will definitely hear about this. Minio-Paksu shouted. Well then tell him. He can't do anything about it anyway. Ryoku said. I've made my decision. I'm going to sit this one out. This battle is of no importance to me. Swoosh. Deodara jumped to his right as a small ball of light almost collided with his head. Deodara jumped up, dodging the same light ball that came back around. While in the air, the blonde Akatsuki member threw a small clay spider that simply disintegrated, causing both the spider and the ball to disappear. What? No explosion. Deodara said, surprised. My attack will dissolve anything it touches. Saru said from above, Deodara thrusting his right fist into Deodara's face with all his strength. Deodara fell quickly all the way down to the ground and disappeared. What the? Saru said as he landed on the same branch as the two remaining Akatsuki members. Saru ducked as Miniopaxu swung a punch to his head. While crouching, Saru spun around, swinging his leg outwards in attempt to trip his opponent. Miniopaxu simply did a flip over him and Ryoku onto another tree branch. Bushi no Jutsu. Hinata screamed behind Miniopaxu. Bam! The attack collided with Miniopaxu's barrier, which he had raised with just enough time to block the attack. Again, the barrier was left with cracks all over the surface. Hinata didn't wait for anything else to happen. Right after unleashing her technique, she jumped forward right after it, swinging her sword down with as much force as she could, shattering the barrier. Miniopaxu jumped back, managing to avoid death but not fast enough to avoid a scratch. Boom. Another light ball came while Miniopaxu was still in the air, jumping back. Before the Akatsuki member could even touch the attack, a large explosion occurred in that area of the forest. The smoke cleared, leaving a small crater in the ground with trees burning everywhere within a half-a-mile radius. Again, Miniopaxu had his shield up, crouched down close to the black burned ground. Hinata was completely unharmed as well, with her sword on fire. Lucky I was able to absorb that attack, she said. Saru was lying on his back. He stood up and noticed that now he had holes in his clothes. Ryoku was nowhere in sight. Deodara was above the explosion range, coming down on what looked to be a huge clay dragon. Deodara, what were you thinking, stupid? Miniopaxu shouted within his barrier. Miniopaxu, leave the boy to me. I'm going to K him. Deodara shouted, staring directly into Saru's eyes. Hurry up and help me out when you're done. Miniopaxu said, agreeing to Deodara's demand. I thought you were S, Kakashi said, barely managing to stand up. I still am. Tsukumo said. What are you doing with the Akatsuki? Kakashi asked. They promised to let me see you one last time, and that was all I needed to join them. Tsukumo stated. You have always been such a fool, Kakashi sighed. Times have changed, son. There is nothing I can do about this anymore. Tsukumo said. The father I know would never join such an evil organization even if his life depended on it. What happened to all your values? Kakashi asked. They're S, just like I am inside. I didn't have the courage to K myself because I didn't want to leave you all by yourself. So I faked my death, and I escaped with hopes of finding you once again before I S. I'm glad that I have done that. Now I must keep my promise. Tsukumo said. No, you are not Hitaki Tsukumo. I refuse to believe that. You can't harm me anymore, Itachi. I know that my father is S. Kakashi said, slowly pulling a kunai from his pack. It doesn't matter what you think, but he is standing right in front of you. Kisame said. Look, we came here to collect Naruto. We'll allow you to live if you simply hand him over. I don't care what their answer is, Naruto began in a dark tone. Because I'll fight all four of you at the same time if I have to. Naruto, don't be foolish. You know that you will not be able to handle this battle. I assume that you have been training. I take it that it is not so light training either. I can sense that your body is tired and your chakra is low. I don't know what you have been practicing, but it doesn't matter anymore because it has already weakened your senses. Itachi said. Don't worry, Naruto, I'm not going to give you up without a fight. Kimetsu said, stepping forward. The way I see it, we can take them down no matter what. Tobi, Tsukumo, take the 3 Konoha civilians. Itachi and I will be capturing the Jinchuriki. Kisame ordered as the 4 Akatsuki members split up. I'm sorry, son, but I have no choice. Tsukumo said. Don't apologize because I don't expect you to spare my life, just like I will not spare yours. You are not my father, and I shall destroy you for trying to trick me. Kakashi said angrily. Naruto and I will take care of Itachi and kiss him. Yamato said. No Yamato. Trust me on this one, you are going to need all the help you can get. Naruto said. Likewise young one. Yamato said. You have been through intensive training after all, there is no way that you can handle both of them alone. Please, I only ask of you one thing. Don't get in my way, this is my fight and my fight alone. If need be, I will put what I have learned into play. Trust me when I say this, I swear to you that I'm not going to lose. Naruto said. With that, he disappeared with Itachi and Kisame following after him. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Kimetsu shouted with a large smile. His bee had already begun to boil with excitement. Jishin no Jutsu. Suddenly, the ground began to depress itself in one long straight line so it looked like a long V-shaped valley. As the ground began to sink, Kakashi and Yamato ran up to the sides to avoid the sinking ground while Kimetsu ran straight down the line towards the two Akatsuki members. Tsukumo jumped out of the valley as it became steeper, but while in the air, he was trapped as wood quickly sprouted from the ground and encircled his body like a snake about to crush its prey. Toby stood still while the ground sunk at that one individual line. The V-shaped valley was becoming steeper by the second as Kimetsu ran faster and faster towards Toby. Boom! The wood that had Tsukumo trapped suddenly exploded and Tsukumo was free to move around and he was out of the sinking earthquake. Tsukumo jumped out towards Kakashi's side, whipping out a kunai, bringing it down to clash with the kunai Kakashi already had in his hands. Yamato, while on the other side of the valley, jumped over to join the two relatives now engaged in battle. Kimetsu on the other hand had finally reached his opponent. But instead of colliding with him, he dashed right past him and looked him straight into his mask. Toby stood still but only turned his head to make contact with Kimetsu. Toby had one hole in his mask that encircled his right eye. The split second Kimetsu looked at his mask, was the exact same moment which the ground stopped sinking and Kimetsu fell to the floor weak and almost unconscious. Naruto stood still waiting for almost 20 seconds for Kisame and Itachi to catch up with him. Naruto was there smiling as always. You guys need to improve your speed. Let's get started, shall we? Naruto, why do you have to make this so complicated? Have we not been good to you? Kisame asked, pulling out his bandaged sword from his back. Save your breath because you will never be able to convince me to simply go in and allow you to conquer the nation. Naruto said. There are other ways to persuade without using words. Itachi said, activating his Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto was caught completely off guard as he fell into the deep trance Itachi took him into. Kisame didn't wait for a spare second. He charged at the blonde boy who was still under Itachi's genjutsu. Swoosh! Naruto still managed to duck as Kisame swung his sword horizontally at his opponent. While crouching, Naruto jumped back to avoid the fireballs that were spat at him from the Uchiha. Harigane no Jutsu. Naruto shouted as hundreds of strong black wires shot out from his sleeves and wrapped around Kisame and his sword as well as Itachi. The black wires kept Naruto's opponents completely still as Naruto delivered an electrical pulse through them. Itachi disappeared with a poof and his partner simply turned into a puddle. Why don't you guys really show yourselves? There is no point in creating bunchans because I already know your true strength. Bunchans have only 1/10 the strength the regular person does. Naruto said. You have to understand, Naruto, Itachi said as him and Kisame jumped down from two separate trees. It's all tactics here. That is the only reason why you were actually able to escape the genjutsu my bunshin had you in. Even though it was 1/10 of the power I could have had you in, it still weakened your state of mind, which will in turn allow us an easier success. Why else did you think you were able to catch us in you simple wire jutsu? That is one of the simplest ones in the book. Itachi, no matter how much you may try, you will not win today. I might not be able to KO you both, but I am not going to allow you to go back unharmed. I promise you that at least one of you is not going home tonight. Naruto said firmly. Saru knew that he was mismatched. For some reason he felt as if he stood a better chance against Minyopaku than against his current opponent. There was only one way to switch, he had to provoke Minyopaku. The task was simple and efficient. He created a light ball and had it chase Deidara around the air while he created another with his other hand and destroyed Minyopaku's index finger on his left hand by catching him off guard. Miniopaxu screamed in anger as he left Hinata alone and chased after Saru. Saru's plan worked better than expected because as Miniopaxu made his way over to Saru's location, Deodara caught sight of this and became angry while still being chased by the light ball. Boom, 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 boom. 7 explosions occurred in Miniopaxu's place when Deodara's ego got the best of him. But when the clay artist concentrated more on blowing up his teammate more than dodging his attacker, the light ball scraped the tip of the wing of the bird he was flying on, which in turn caused it to explode as well, sending Deodara way down far to the ground in smoking robes. Hinata didn't allow Deodara to hit the ground without getting hurt as she jumped high up and Deodara in the sea. Shidinasan no jutsu. Hinata shouted while her sword still pierced Deodara's body. A lightning bolt shot down from the blackened sky at Hinata's sword and struck Deodara, causing even more damage to the Akatsuki member. With that, Hinata removed her blade and landed safely on the ground near Deodara, who barely managed to land on his feet. He clutched his sea in pain as he could feel his flesh cooking from the lightning strike. Miniopaxu on the other hand managed to dodge 3 of the explosions after the other 4 destroyed his barrier. This caused him to be even more furious. "You little monster!" Miniopaxu screamed at Saru. "Feel my wrath, Kenkon no jutsu." Saru witnessed as his new opponent formed a few hand seals and appeared suddenly in front of him. Miniopaxu shoved both of his open palms onto Saru's sea, sending him flying through the air. Saru hit the ground, but he didn't hit where he anticipated. He looked around and he saw the universe all around him. "Genjutsu," Saru said. "Correct." Miniopaxu's voice boomed in from all directions. "This is my strongest jutsu that I have developed. It is the only genjuts that cannot be broken. Unlike all genjutsus that only cause mental damage, this techniuque literally destroys your brain cells at an exponential rate. It doesn't mess with your mind, it dissolves it. Here, you are at my command, and this is your last moment." Miniopaxu explained. The billions of stars and planets all around him exploded into many more sharp shards, all in Saru's direction. However, right before a single shard could be connected with Saru's body, the jutsu stopped and the world was back to normal. Saru automatically knew why he was saved. Miniopaxu gasped as he saw the leader of the Shouten appear and ruin his genjutsu on his subordinate. "You are not in your place," Q said softly. "Leave now." Miniopaxu said nothing. He simply dashed over to Deodara, who was coughing up and dashed back where Ryoku was standing. "Let's leave now," Miniopaxu shouted to Ryoku. "It's been a long time, hasn't it?" Ryoku said to the leader of the Shouten. Q turned his head to see who spoke to him and his eyes widened. "Ryoku, I knew we would eventually cross paths. So it seems you decided to join the Akatsuki. Well, any way to stop you." Ryoku said. "I see you never changed, not matter what we did to your body and power. I will never stop until I rule the earth. That is how it was intended before you and your friend interfered." Q said. "I never thought you would join the organization who am your son." "Guru," Ryoku said. "Indeed, Tsukomi Ryoku, indeed," Q said. "We shall definitely meet again, under extreme circumstances. Next time I see you, I'll be able to give you what I owe you. You prolonged my plans, but you can never destroy them. We'll see about that now, won't we?" Ryoku said as the 3 Akatsuki members dashed off into the distance. Q turned to Saru and Hinata, who were dirty from the battle and panting as ever. He put his hand on Saru and said, "Saru, I apologize for my behavior earlier. But I was beginning to doubt that you would keep your word. Come back to the base, and I will show you that when I say something, I am not lying to you." Hinata could feel the evil so powerful that she felt that she could see it with her sword. She dashed at Q with all her strength, but as she got closer, her courage left her and she fell to the floor unconscious. "Kimetsu!" Kakashi shouted as he witnessed his teammate fall to the ground. "Go help him, Kakashi. I'll be fine for now," Yamato said. Kakashi ran down with great speed to help out. Toby was approaching Kimetsu as well. But as Kakashi ran down the steep decrease, he used his running to build momentum. He jumped and whirled around and using the momentum, kicked Toby in the face with great force. Toby flew at the ground as his mask was knocked off. Kakashi gasped again, another surprise. There lay the Akatsuki member, missing his left eye and his right eye a Sharingan. Obito, Kakashi asked. Hey Kakashi, Obito said smiling. But how? Kakashi asked. How did you survive the rock slide? That day that I attained my Sharingan, I managed to copy the jutsu where shinobi are able to be one with stone. That is precisely what I did. I didn't have time to go back out, I simply had time to leave as quickly as possible and put myself back together. I joined the Akatsuki for the same reason as your father. But I am not going to betray you. I just wanted to show you how much stronger I've gotten. Obito said. Even when I was cured, I didn't want to go back because I knew you would always be better than me. But that's not the case anymore. I trained my whole life just so I can come back and beat you. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.